Yo guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Peter. I document the journey of building my next business, an e-commerce project for the US market. But right now I'm back in Budapest, where I'm from, where I grew up, the place that has shaped me. And in this video, instead of talking about the business stuff, because this is the end of the year, I want to talk about planning the year ahead and making sure that 2025 is going to be your best year ahead. And because I'm only back home for the holidays to spend Christmas with my family, I'm actually traveling back to Argentina next week. I want to show you some of the best spots in Budapest. So we are actually at the Hero Square, one of the most famous landmarks. The thing that I want to talk about is intentionality. The whole concept behind why it's worth planning your year ahead is to be intentional. Whatever you want to do, whether you want to have some sports related goals, career goals, launching a new business, getting in a relationship, the best way to get there is to be intentional and making sure that you actually know the roadmap that leads you to get there. And the reason why I picked the Hero Square to talk about this, now this whole monument was presented here for the millennia of the foundation of the Hungarian state. And the statues here, there's 14 of them. They're all kings, generals, admirals who were really the shapers, who were the main historic figures of the Hungarian history. So do you think that these guys, these kings, these generals, these admirals have become so historically important just by accident, just by being born in whatever they've done? Some of them had to rebuild the country, some of them were the founding kings of the whole country, the whole state, and the number one thing that has led them to be there is that they were intentional about what they wanted to achieve in their own life, what they wanted to do with the country, and the same concept applies to every single one of us. The number one thing is to craft out a vision for yourself. So there was a time when I was working together with a mentor in the mergers and acquisition space, and he was teaching me about how to do this sort of like roll-up strategies, acquiring businesses. And the first thing that we were doing together, the first task that he gave me is to go home and spend a couple of days really writing down my vision for my life, writing down my vision for the business that I want to build, and be as specific as possible. The sort of people that I want to hang out with, my role in the company, the people that I'm working with, the sort of lifestyle that I'm having, because the more specific that you are, the more crystal clear that vision is, the less likely that you won't really see yourself already achieving it. And once you already see that you have done it, is the way that you can act like you own it, the act like you can deserve it. And that's one of the reasons why I'm super passionate about planning my year ahead, because I want to be very crystal clear what I want to achieve. And it's going to be at the next spot where I will describe the exact method, how I'm planning my year. But the number one most interesting concept that I do is giving a title to my year ahead. 2023 was whatever it takes. And that year I wanted to focus on really bringing financial success to my life, because I was already building a business that had a good reputation, had a good following, but I felt like I'm really struggling on the money side of things. And that was the year when I sold my business. 2024, this year, was global expansion. The year when I left this country, traveled the world, made international connections, and opened myself up for the US market. And 2025, well, I will tell you what the title is going to be at the next stop. And by the way, one more thing about planning. My high school is actually in this area. And there was a time when they invited me to talk about my first business and the sort of successes that I had and really inspire students. And one of the things that I told them, and I actually had a question about this from the audience, whatever your goals are, you're really unlikely to achieve anything more than that. But once you're clear about your goals, you actually want to get there, and chances are that you will. It just takes work and consistency. So that's about intentionality, and we're gonna go to the next stop. Here we are at our second stop. This is the Hungarian parliament. This is where our politicians are working tirelessly towards making Hungary a better place with laws that help the people. And the way that these guys get elected is that they present a plan to the people of what they intend to do that betters the country. And then they work for 4 years on actually materializing that plan. And they need a bunch of different plans to make sure that those plans that they've set forward to the people are actually working out. I think Eisenhower, one of the great presidents in the US, said that failing to plan is planning to fail, which is the reason why you should spend some time planning your year ahead and making sure that 2025 is your best year. And the way I like to do my planning is I distribute my life for 4 areas: health, wealth, relationships, and spirituality. And I write down a bunch of different goals for each of these 4 areas. The reason why I do this is because it helps me to be more organized and be more specific on the different areas. And then this whole exercise, by the way, should take a couple of hours. That is partly reflection and partly being very free-flowing in your thoughts and making sure that you write down a bunch of different things for all these 4 areas, because then you will get to a point where you have to decide that out of all the 10, 15 different things that you wrote down, what is the one thing that you actually want to achieve this year? Because you can dream of doing a lot of things, but it's really hard to be so demanding of yourself. So instead you should just focus on one thing from each of the 4 areas. So you have your 4 areas, you have the bunch of different goals for all these 4 areas, the key goals, and if you've done this exercise right, you should have already thought about the title for the year, because this whole process is about getting inspired about what you want to take out of your life, and that's the goal that also the title itself serves. 2 more things that I like to do. One of them, I write also a key sentence for the year that summarizes both the key goals and the title. It's sort of like, which you are watching a movie, there's a title to the movie, but there's also like a short description of what the movie is all about, right? And the other thing that I like to do is I also write down 3 to 5 key values that I like to bring forward in the year ahead. And the reason why I like to do this is because, the title is about what I want to achieve, and the values is the sort of people that I like to be next year. Maybe for you it's going to be intentionality, being more visionary, being more social, whatever it is. Just write down a couple of key values, really internalize them, and make sure that you get excited about this whole thing, because this is about setting yourself forward the vision that you can get excited. That's what planning should all be about. So this was our second spot, the Parliament, and we are actually heading to our third and final stop, where I will talk about what I'm planning for the year ahead and the values that I like to bring forward in the year 2025. Yo, here we are, final section and final spot. We are at the Garden of Philosophers. This is a less known sightseeing. The thing I like about it is that you can see the whole landscape of the city. Behind me is the Buddha Castle. There's the river, the Duna. It's just a nice place, and I used to come here a lot with my friends, just hanging out, watching over the city. It's a nice spot, and again, less known. So the final thing that I wanted to talk about is my personal goals for 2025 and the way I'm thinking about the year ahead. Obviously, if you've been following this channel, you've seen me working on a new e-commerce project, which is something that I want to launch early next year. And apart from this, 2024 has been about change. A lot of new things have happened. It was a very adventurous year. But the next year, my title is Focused on One. I really want to nail down and focus on one or a few things in my life that will give me the greatest return on the long term. One aspect of this is on the business side of things. So I've been doing the content stuff, I've been setting up my new project, and at the same time I do contractor work for a startup. As soon as the new business is ready and I'm ready to launch it, I just want to focus on that one thing and nothing else, because I know the value of being focused. I know the bad things about diluting yourself in a bunch of different things, and I've already made some progress in any sort of project that I got involved in, and I felt like I can't give my full energy. I'm just cutting them off to make sure that I can focus on the one thing that I want to do on the long run. So that's on the business side of things, and also on the relationship side of things, both on a friend aspect and both in a love aspect. I felt like I just arrived in Latin America. There's been a bunch of adventures, which was fun. It was good. It was, things that men need to experience, but on the long term, it doesn't serve me, right? So I really want to focus on projecting the longevity into my life on a love aspect as well, and on a friend aspect as well. And from a values aspect, there are 3 things that I really want to project this year. One of them is focus, obviously, longevity, obviously, radical truth and honesty, And actually a fourth one, strong boundaries. Now, radical truth and honesty, I realized this because of all the adventures, all the experiences I had. You realize that something doesn't serve you. You have to reject some things to be able to focus on other ones. So I want to be very truthful. I want to be more communicative about my boundaries and really focus on protecting the things that will bring me the greatest return in terms of longevity. So that's about it, guys. This year has been a huge step forward, and just like any year, I always make it sure that the next year is going to be the best year for me, and for that, planning is inevitable. It's hugely important, and I really like these final days of the year when things finally slow down a little bit. You can spend time with your loved ones. You can just think about what has happened this year, reflect, and strategize. One thing that I've also done, and one thing that I encourage people to do, like, don't wait until January 1st. Like, some of the things I already am conscious about what I want to take out from next year, and I've already made the moves. I already started projecting this radical truth and honesty into my relationships. I already cut off some of the projects or the people that I felt were not serving me in a very peaceful and a very open way. Things will start accelerating from January 1st, but if you can already make the steps forward, do it. So that's it. This was Budapest, the place that I'm from, and for the next video I'm going to be back in Latin America. Happy New Year's, and make sure that you take the most out of 2025.